Network Next Gen, the podcast, inspiring design industry hustlers. All right, guys, we are back. Thank you so much for being here today. We have two amazing guests. We're going to have you introduce yourselves. So first we have Christina Bailey. She's the Chief Growth Officer at Artlifting. So do you want to share any more about your background or your intro, how you got here?
Sure, absolutely. Personally, I'm a Kansas Jayhawk. I'm the mom of two young children with one on the way. I care about embracing gratitude and joy. And professionally, I'm at Artlifting because I believe in business for good. I think there's a lot of opportunity to make a difference and meet the needs of the business community.
That's amazing. Awesome. Okay, and our other guest is the VP of Design for Mohawk Group, Mark Page. Mark, do you want to just share a little intro about yourself?
Oh, there's a lot to talk about here. So I'm a fourth generation carpet employee.
Okay.
Of course, came to the States 26 years ago from the UK. I am responsible for, within Mohawk Group's commercial portfolio, all our hard and our soft products, whether they are in hospitality or aircraft or education, government, workplace, and so on and so on. It is a fairly diverse range of design styles, and we fluctuate throughout the day from a ballroom to a surgery center to an aircraft. So it's a great space to work in, and it's been a pleasure to partner with Artlifting.
That's so great. I love that. All right, so let's talk about Artlifting. Can you tell us a little bit about what it is for anyone who doesn't know? I know the founder, Liz, she was inspired to create this. So if you can share a little bit about the company and then how she was inspired to create it, that'd be great.
Sure, let's start there. So our founder, Liz Powers, she was formerly a social worker. She was trying to help individuals who were unhoused find jobs and recognize that was really challenging. They kept applying for jobs but getting denied employment over and over and over again. So at that point, she felt compelled to create a more inclusive economy, redefine jobs for people that don't fit into a traditional job structure, but didn't have the answer. She didn't know how to do that. She also recognized that her clients were quite lonely. So she started art groups in shelters to try to create community and connection and hope. And it was at that point that she saw incredible talent. There were these talented artists, but their artwork was ending up in the closet or the basement, or someone was trying to sell it on their own. And she thought if these talents could be seen and if these stories could be heard, then they could earn an income for the work that they're doing. Wow. So that's how we got started. We also recognized that there was a business need, that companies were looking to differentiate the design of their spaces. They wanted to enhance their brand. And luckily now, people are caring about diversity, equity, inclusion, and social impact. So with those two things coming together, we started Artlifting to connect these talented artists with socially conscious companies.
And where was it started? Where did it begin?
We started with 4 artists in Boston.
In Boston.
And now we have 180 artists in 33 states across the country.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And like you said, I feel like people are wanting to help, but they don't always know how. So that's really amazing that you fit that need. That's great.
Thanks.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so Mark, why don't you talk a little bit about this collaboration? So I think it's really cool that Mohawk Group got behind Artlifting. So can you talk a little bit about how that collaboration started or how you guys ended up getting together?
Yeah, I mean, it really sort of happened for us during COVID. I think, for so much, COVID sort of changed our lives and our outlook. We really connected, in a very, very sort of casual way, and just through such passion behind it. My entire design team just came to my office one day with the package that we'd received and said, this is somewhere we've got to do.
Wow, that's really how it got started?
It was.
Wow.
And design is all about emotion, in my view. If I can create something that creates emotion in the end user, the sales transaction can happen. We're about selling carpet. But here we've been given the opportunity to tap into great resource, create great products, work with great partners, but share the message. And it's not just what we can do with Artlifting for Mohawk's benefit. We do it for Artlifting, but it's connecting our clients and their audiences that use spaces to what's available here. And it's not just us supporting, we're just making sure that everyone else can support Artlifting. And I think the last 12 months has just been absolutely phenomenal for both of us.
Okay.
I think we've both seen some positives in both ways. This year we've continued the relationship. there's a strong drive to do this again next year, but do it differently. Let's try and change it up. So it's a creative and it's an engaging process for both sides of the business.
That's great. Okay, so I know that the social canvas collection line came out of this partnership. Is that
Charlie
correct?
French, yeah.
So can you talk a little bit about it in case people don't know what it is, or can you kind of describe it?
It was awesome. I actually had a designer working for me that had followed Charlie for some years. So this was completely unconnected. We actually went to my design team and said, look, we're going to start working with Artlifting. And one of my designers put their hands up and said, oh my gosh, I've been following this guy, Charlie French, for years. So we took a look at it.
Okay.
And it was perfect. Not all designs as you see them are going to directly translate into a commercial office type carpet.
Makes sense.
Charlie's just was a perfect fit for that. Charlie's condition of Down syndrome is not something that I know or knew much about.
Okay.
It allowed me to learn more about that and be more compassionate. And as we've talked about the artwork and Charlie, we've had people engage with us that have got family members with Down syndrome. And it's just they want to talk, they want to share their experiences. And we've learned a lot. And I still know there are times that it brings a tear to your eye when you talk about the individual artist stories. So it's been really, really positive for us. Really has, in so many ways.
So the social canvas collection line, is it multiple artists or is it one artist or?
No, what we've done in the last few years is because we're designing products for so many environments, we've tried to develop a theme. So with Artlifting, we said, okay, this is our conversation for the year. Let's look at a range of artists and then apply their styling and their artwork and their stories to hospitality, to a workplace collection, to a senior living environment. So throughout the year, we've launched a range of materials. We highlighted 10 artists, told all their stories. But for our sales team, you can engage in the same conversation. It makes it easy. It makes it real to just buy into that conversation, sell it forwards. And we've done the same this year.
That's great. So with your partnership with Artlifting, in case people are curious how it works, like how do you select the artist, or can you go into a little bit more of like how it works?
Sure. So in this partnership, it's not one size fit all. So it depends on the partnership and what we're looking to develop together. And even in our partnership, it's looked different. So in the first year of working together, we recommended a diverse group of artists, both in terms of their style, their process, their lived experience, which allowed then Mohawk to be able to be very creative and apply the art and the stories in a variety of different ways. Most recently this year, Mohawk actually commissioned 6 of our artists, I believe, for a very different type of process. So they were creating custom work that was inspired by a concept that Mohawk presented.
Oh, interesting.
And then the artist partnered with designers in order to then develop the final product.
Cool.
So in that instance, we recommended very different artists that could do the commissioned work that we thought could take the inspiration and also still create a diversity of completed products. So it really just depends on what the vision is for the partnership and the product. And then we know our artist community very intimately, so we can determine who's the right fit, again, based on their style and how they may collaborate and partner together.
That's great. I love that. Okay, thanks for describing that, because I feel like sometimes people aren't quite sure. So that's really great. Okay, so Mark, I'm kind of curious about how you guys are diversifying your collaborations for the market and the changing landscape. So I know this is obviously an amazing partnership collaboration. I'd love to ask both of you this. So how are you kind of diversifying those collaborations as the world changes, as the design world changes? How are you guys looking to do that?
Sure. I mean, we've got a range of partnerships. Artlifting has been a more recent development. We focused on water.org, Water Alliance about 3 years ago. I mean, during COVID, the only place we could get out there was to a roadshow. So we built a whole 18-week showroom experience. And there were give-back programs there through designs created against river systems that helped support clean water, river cleanup. We've also had, for many, many years, a strong partnership with the Susan G. Komen Foundation. So, there are proceeds from every sale that will go back to that organization. Last year, I think we were in a range of about $1 million that we donated back there.
Wow.
There's been some development and conversation, and I'm just talking about the Artlifting artists that we've worked with this year. We didn't necessarily understand what was happening in their lives and some of the things that they were exploring, and just some things that have come out of it were completely unexpected.
Wow.
And again, kind of make you cry. Some of my design directors that have worked directly with them, even now they'll burst into tears when they tell you the entire story.
Wow.
So we're very diverse. I think we've made it a message for the business is to champion causes. Throughout what we do, we have a large audience base. Our marketing across social media is pretty broad. We should use that. Yeah. And whether you buy the product from us or not, we have an obligation, I think, as a manufacturer to share stories and to create awareness for everybody. And that's something that we do, and we should continue. All of us should continue doing.
Well, and that's what makes design matter, right? When you get into the actual people and the actual stories, that's what we're doing this for. Yeah. So I think that's great. That's amazing. What about for you guys?
Yeah, I'll piggyback off that. I think something that attracted us to Mohawk was the focus on sustainability. So when we embark on partnerships, we do care about what is the value alignment, what are we trying to both accomplish as companies and in our society. And I find that there are a lot of companies, as we look at environmental social responsibility or ESG, that are just focused on the E. And Mohawk has blown it out of the water with that. However, by working with Artlifting, they started to focus not just on planet, but people. And that stands out. I think as companies, we do have to look beyond the E and move into the S of what is the social impact that we can be making together. And so we're thrilled to see that happen through Mohawk. I think for us, in terms of as we look at how do we diversify what we're doing in order to align with the needs of the market, we've had to get creative. And one of those has been through the partnership with Mohawk. A lot of people think about art and they think about walls. You see a framed piece of art or a canvas that goes on a wall. But like any surface is an opportunity for art. So Mohawk is proving that by putting art on the floor. We have now also licensed artwork for greeting cards and a variety of other products where someone can experience art in a different way to have that connection on a personal basis, and or maybe feel inspired, or maybe some creativity is sparked. So that's important to us in terms of like how do we meet the needs of the market and allow people to experience art in different ways. But for our artists, like we care about them being able to earn an income. And so if it's just a static piece of art, that may limit their opportunities. And a lot of our artists have physical limitations, mental limitations. They may have space limitations in terms of how they can create. So when we're able to either license artwork that can be applied at a larger scale or in a different medium, that creates new earning opportunity for the artists. But we hire professional artists who can do hand-painted murals. And so an artist who may use a wheelchair and has limited ability to create at scale now can still have the same opportunity of seeing their art at that scale, can have the financial earning opportunity because of the partnerships that we're forming.
That's amazing. I love that. That's really great. That kind of moves us into this next question, which I think is interesting. We're talking about next gen here, the next generation, which leads us to thinking about the future always. And what I think is really cool is exactly what you said. I feel like people are making that shift of like, okay, we need the environments to be healthy, but we need people to be healthy and well as well. So I think the next generation is very focused on socially conscious initiatives and art and things like that. So for you guys, how do you feel that is impacting the way the next generation is looking at art? And how are you guys kind of adapting to that? Because I do feel like there's this need for socially conscious stories in the background more than ever, which I think is a good thing, right, for the world. So how are you kind of adapting to that? And what do you see on the horizon in terms of this next generation and their demand for socially conscious everything?
Sure. I mean, it's part of the importance of this conversation. I think people have to be aware that they have choice and they can be intentional in their purchasing. And if you're comparing two products of the same quality, if one company is socially conscious, a next-gen consumer will make that choice.
Yeah.
And so it's important that they're aware of the choices that they can make and to purchase with intention. For us, it's like we're hoping to support that through inclusion. So in the art market, it's been traditionally very exclusive in terms of even the gallery model. There are physical barriers that come with galleries. There are social barriers that come with galleries. So a lot of our artists could never have found success as an artist through traditional models of how artists are able to get recognition and again earn an income. So we almost consider ourselves like a next gen gallery in the sense of removing those barriers and working to reduce inequity in the art market.
That's great. I love that.
And I think for me, hey, I got a young daughter, right? And I can't figure out my cell phone. They figured it all out.
Yeah.
You know, we've taken the world and we've gotten our world into the condition it's in. There are younger generations ahead of us now that are actually leading us and telling us what we should be doing. A lot of my design team are next geners. I mean, they are coming to me every day and said, I think we should do this. If we look at sustainable practices, as soon as we start to talk about our positions on social and sustainable practices, I can hire designers in a flash. I mean, your generation is so much more aware of what needs to be done, and they are helping us and helping guide us where we don't think that we've got the right lead. You know, you're leading us in many ways. So there's a lot more we can do. We can do these things, and we can champion all the right causes, and we can make money at it.
Right.
So a business can profit from this, but it's by changing the way it thinks.
Yep.
You know, Mohawk's a big business, and we make a commodity product, but it doesn't have to be a commodity product. We like people to understand what went into it, and then we want people to share that with the end user, people that walk around the facility and really engage and embrace and understand what this means.
I love that.
You know, it's a big thing for us.
That's great. I love that. All right, cool. Well, are there any kind of final thoughts that you want to leave the listeners with, the next gen design community with, anything either about what you see is coming next, or just any final thoughts of awareness that you both want to leave?
I mean, I'll stay and then I'll pass on to you. I mean, right now, to make everybody aware, you know, we're an A&D, we're an interior design community. We deal with facilities. You don't have to buy our product to support Artlifting. You don't have to. We're using what we can to make people aware that there's a resource there. Check out what's available and, you know, get in there and start using it. You'll grow so much more as a person, as spiritually, and you'll be doing something for a positive better for all of us. So
I love that. That's
check
great,
out
Mark.
Artlifting.
That's great.
Thank you, Mark. I think there's an opportunity for people just to join us. We're working to reduce inequity in the workforce, reduce inequity in the art market, and we want to reduce stigma and stereotype. So Mark mentioned how that's permeating through our partnership. When you start to see the conversations happen of, you know, my son has Down syndrome, or my uncle's living with MS, or my mother's a cancer survivor, those connections don't happen unless a company is very intentional about what they're doing. And so I'm glad we're seeing that. And I hope that, again, designers are thoughtful about how they utilize the opportunity they have in spaces to create personal connections between people. So I hope everyone will join us. We do believe that we can do business for good and prove that social enterprise is possible. And so we're grateful that Mohawk is helping us share that story.
That's amazing. Thank you both for being here so much. I think these are powerful conversations. And to me, this is what the heart of design should be about. So I think it's great. Thanks for being here, you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.